There is a moment that lasts less than a second. Someone slips on a wet floor. For an instant, time seems to hesitate. Their arms flail, their balance disappears, and before they even stand back up, the room erupts with laughter. It feels automatic, almost inevitable. Most people believe laughter is simply what happens when something is funny, but that isn't what scientists have discovered. Laughter is far older than comedy, older than language, older perhaps than the stories we tell ourselves about being human. Long before our ancestors painted caves or built cities, they laughed. Not because life was easy, but because surviving together demanded it. Researchers studying great apes noticed something unexpected. Young chimpanzees produce breathy, rhythmic vocalizations while chasing and wrestling one another. It sounds different from human laughter, yet it appears in almost exactly the same moments.
Trust, the absence of danger. The roots of laughter were already growing millions of years before the first human joke was ever told. That changes the question entirely. Perhaps laughter was never invented for humor. Perhaps humor evolved to trigger laughter, and that distinction reveals something unsettling. Your brain doesn't wait to decide whether something is funny. It first asks a far more important question. Am I safe? Imagine walking through a forest thousands of years ago. A sudden movement in the bushes could mean death. Every nerve in your body prepares for the worst. But then a small deer steps into the light instead of a predator. The tension collapses. That release is deeply connected to the same neurological systems that produce laughter. Many psychologists believe laughter is the sound of fear transforming into relief. A signal that says the threat wasn't real. Suddenly, comedy begins to look less like entertainment and more like survival. But humans took this ancient signal somewhere evolution never expected. We laugh at awkward silences. We laugh at embarrassing mistakes. We laugh during funerals. Sometimes we laugh when we're terrified. At first, this seems irrational, yet the brain often uses laughter as a pressure valve, reducing emotional overload when words become insufficient. In some of life's darkest moments, laughter isn't denying reality, it's preventing reality from overwhelming us.
Even more mysterious is the fact that we rarely laugh alone. Most laughter isn't caused by jokes at all. Studies repeatedly show that people laugh far more during ordinary conversations than while hearing carefully crafted comedy. Often, nothing particularly amusing has happened. The laughter itself is the message. Without saying a word, it tells everyone nearby, I belong with you. A shared laugh quietly synchronizes breathing, facial expressions, attention, and even brain activity between people. For a brief moment, separate minds begin behaving like a single social organism. Civilizations were not built by the strongest individuals. They were built by groups that trusted one another enough to stay together.
And laughter became one of the invisible threads holding those groups in place. Perhaps that explains why silence feels uncomfortable after a failed joke. It isn't merely that the joke missed. For a fraction of a second, the social connection failed to form. The absence of laughter feels heavier than the joke itself. But there is one final mystery. Humans are the only species capable of laughing at ideas that don't even exist. We laugh at impossible situations, at imaginary futures, at absurd thought experiments. Our minds can create fictional worlds, recognize that they violate expectation, and reward us with laughter anyway. Some neuroscientists believe this ability reflects one of humanity's greatest evolutionary achievements, the power to simulate reality without experiencing it. Every joke is, in a sense, a harmless prediction error, a tiny collision between expectation and surprise. The brain briefly loses its certainty, then celebrates finding it again. Maybe that is why laughter feels so universal. Life constantly confronts us with uncertainty, contradiction, and chaos. Laughter doesn't erase those things. It simply reminds us that for one fleeting moment, the uncertainty didn't defeat us. The The sound echoes through families, friendships, stadiums, hospitals, classrooms, and lonely apartments. Different languages, different cultures, different histories, yet the same unmistakable signal.
A breath escaping between fear and understanding. So perhaps laughter was never just an expression of happiness. Perhaps it is evolution's quiet confession that intelligence alone was never enough. To survive this strange world, humans needed something else. A way to tell one another that the danger had passed, that we were still together, and that despite everything the universe could throw at us, we had found one more reason to keep breathing. Maybe that is why laughter feels so ancient, because every time we laugh, we are hearing an echo from a world where survival depended not only on outrunning danger, but on recognizing the precious moment when it was finally safe to smile.